a story that started to circulate on Memorial Day across Formula One media was the possibility of Alpine issuing a team-imposed one-race ban for Esteban Ocon. Now, Kobe briefly touched on it during the wrap-up show, but we'll go into it in more detail now. At the beginning of the Monaco Grand Prix, Ocon was trying to fight for position and made contact with teammate Pierre Gasly. When the two friends turned foes collided, Ocon's car briefly launched into the air before coming back down on all fours. Both cars suffered damage, leaving Gasly furious, and Ocon retired from the race. Team principal Bruno Famin told French TV Canal Plus that this incident was something the team didn't want to see and promised appropriate consequences. This was an incredibly frustrating situation for an Alpine F1 team that has struggled in 2024, and the pace in Monaco left them optimistic for a double points finish. After the race, Ocon posted on social media saying the incident was his fault and the gap was too small, apologising to the team. If Ocon ends up getting suspended by Alpine for the upcoming Canadian Grand Prix, reserve driver Jack Doohan would be in line to make his F1 debut. You can read more about this developing story on the F1 website. The link to this is in the video description, the photo courtesy of Alpine as well. Now, I was hearing rumours of this, even enjoying the commentary as well. Ian Burch, who was sat at race control, was looking at social media and hearing reports from the Sky F1 feed that we have through our ears. And they were being told, look, this has just been said. Alpine are saying, look, everything's not happy. Ocon's walked off in a half, could be bans and all this lot as well. So, Kobe, starting with you, welcome back. How realistic is the possibility that Alpine will actually suspend Ocon? And if it happens, will this fracture his relationship with the team beyond repair?
Hello, Josh. And I'm not exactly sure how realistic this possibility is, but since we're talking about it in the media, and for goodness sake, it's on the F1 website. If it's on the F1 website, there certainly has to be, something to this situation. And it would just be really wild to see Alpine suspend Esteban Ocon, because I didn't think it would ever come to this. We all know Gasly and Ocon are the best of friends, right? They're, like you said, they're friends turned foes. They've been rivals for so many years now. And when it was announced that both of these two Frenchmen would be driving for Alpine, and I thought to myself, how on earth are they going to make this work, given the intense rivalry between these two? And it sounds like, that the rivalry between Gasly and Ocon is really coming to a head now, and Alpine is not happy with Ocon at all. So I guess given everything that has transpired up to this point, and the contact at Monaco to end up ruining a double points finish for the team, I guess we shouldn't be surprised if Alpine takes some action here. And, this is not Formula One, saying Esteban Ocon, you have a one-race ban. This will be a team-imposed suspension for a one-race ban, which will make this even wilder story. And based on the reports, we've been seeing from Monaco, maybe the relationship between team and driver are already fractured beyond repair before suspension has even taken place. And if Ocon does get banned for the Canadian Grand Prix and we see Jack Doohan in the car, I think it would be safe to say that Esteban Ocon would not return to Alpine in 2025.
I'm pretty certain I didn't dream this, but I've just checked while you were doing the intro to this story, Josh. On Formula One's YouTube channel, I'm 99% sure it's now gone, but there was a video.
I watched it.
The 6 times that Esteban Ocon has crashed into his teammate. What a video description. It's now gone. It's not on there. I've just checked. But wow, what a statement to make. Who had that taken down, you wonder. But yeah, the news came through, didn't it, after the long delay at the beginning of the Grand Prix. And as you mentioned, Bruno Famin made his comments to French TV. And then there was the shot of him talking to Jack Doohan up on high above the pit garages post-race. Esteban Ocon's contract is up at the end of the season. Now, whether there must have been some discussion at some stage, how far along the discussions were about a re-sign for Esteban at that team, we don't know. But does Mr. Famin's comments say that he's not coming back next year, or that he's going to get benched for Montreal next weekend? I'm sure we'll find out. You would think if it's going to happen, we'd find out probably at this weekend, I would think. And Jack Doohan, who spent all of Friday at Enstone as their sim driver and then flew Saturday to Nice to get to the Grand Prix to be there, was shown a couple of times during the race in the garage. because there really wasn't much else to look at. Let's be honest, more on that when we get to what's not. I'm sure he has to be he didn't come back into F2 this year because he wanted to try and be with the team more and get himself a spot for next season. Well, he might perhaps get half a chance early at Montreal next weekend, but it doesn't look good for Ocon. And there's a few pit drivers on the F1 grid that look very uneasy about their future of going to another team, and maybe Esteban has added his name to that list.
Esty Bestie's future will be decided in the next few weeks as well. But it's funny, isn't it, that his contract is up at the end of the year and his manager just happens to be Toto Wolff, who has a seat going. I mean, what are the chances of that as well? It's just getting weird, isn't it? But I must admit, this is going to be a very niche thing here. But the treatment between Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly, both drivers keep crashing into each other. But every time Pierre does it, it's, oh, don't worry, Pierre. Don't worry, it's all okay. Every time Ocon does it, it goes, you idiot, what have you done? Out you go, back door. It's like that episode of The Simpsons where they all get the dogs. And like, it's, the dogs all there, it all goes like, oh, the dog. And then the cat comes in and they're like, get that stupid cat out of the way. It's like that. It's like, for God's sake, you can't have both. And it really grates on me because Esteban is a good driver and he's actually only crashed into his teammate about 4 times. Not actually as much as people make it out. The video I saw, actually about 20, it was 2 Sergio Perez. One was actually Gasly coming back on the track and hitting him in Australia. And it just so annoying. Did you also hear the rumor that I did today that has been going around in the press about a certain, how do I describe it? A certain older gentleman who's a bit of a playboy.
The Italian bloke. Used to run Benetton.
Yeah. He was looking like he's coming back to that Enstone team. Yeah, Fabio Briatore.
Yes.
And then got his ban taken away from him. Yeah. Fabio Briatore apparently is coming back, or in discussions to come back to Alpine in a senior advisor role because they are so desperate for anybody to have the team. It's stupid. What next? We're going to see Jean Todt back there or something or there? Back in the very early days before he headed off to Ferrari, he was there. It's balmy, isn't it? And I don't know. I cannot see Fabio going back to what was Renault because he was kicked out of that team for what happened in Singapore 2008. But that's the rumour mill. If Fabio comes back, it'll be the biggest U-turn Formula One has ever done in history. So we'll see. Then again, that's what you get when you have Stefano Domenicali and Mohammed Ben Sulayem as the bosses of the sport. They let all their friends have the cushy jobs back. I'm getting political this evening, aren't I? I just don't like it. I didn't like it then. Well, Pat Simmons is back as well. And the only one who come off worse was Piquet Jr. Oh, dear. Now, moving on to... Yeah, he was, and he got his career. Yeah, it was ridiculous. If the team had any respect for itself, it won't happen. That's the problem, Jackson. Alpine doesn't have respect. Alpine lost its respect about 4 or 5 years ago. That's off my knowledge as well. When they sacked off from Safnauer back in Belgium last year, that was weird as well. Still don't know what all that was about.